You probably haven't thought about the Nissan Leaf in a while. Honestly, most people haven't. But something strange just happened. Something you wouldn't expect from a car that used to be a punchline in the EV world. Let's just say the Leaf isn't what it used to be. And that's a good thing. The Nissan Leaf was one of the first real electric cars that everyday drivers could actually afford. Back in 2010, it felt like the future. Quirky, silent, and ahead of its time. But as other brands jumped into the EV race with sleek designs, bigger batteries, and faster charging, the Leaf sort of disappeared from the conversation. Nissan didn't give up, though. They kept at it quietly, refining, reworking, and, it seems, waiting for the right moment. Now that moment is here. The 2026 Leaf isn't just a refresh. It's a complete transformation. And if you weren't paying attention before, this version is asking you to look again. The first thing you'll notice is this isn't a hatchback anymore. The 2026 Leaf steps into crossover territory with a look that's sharper, wider, and way more grown up. It rides on the same EV platform used in the Nissan Ariya, which gives it a longer wheelbase and more presence on the road. The old Leaf looked like a budget-friendly commuter. This one? It looks ready to compete. From the side, the fastback-style roof gives it a sleek silhouette, and the flat underbody and flush door handles help it slice through the air more efficiently. The front end is clean and confident, with a closed grille and new lighting design that feels modern without trying too hard. Even the rear is more polished, with just enough attitude to make it stand out in a crowded EV lineup. It's not trying to scream, "Look at me," but it's also not blending in anymore. For a car that's been overlooked for years, that's a smart move. One of the biggest criticisms of older Leaf models was the range. It was fine for short city trips, but not much more. That's completely changed now. The 2026 Leaf offers 3 different battery setups, and even the base version is hitting around 259 miles on a full charge. Step up to the mid-trim, and you're looking at about 288 miles. Go all in with the top trim, and you get up to 303 miles. That kind of jump puts the Leaf in a whole new category. It's no longer the car you only take for errands. It's ready for longer commutes, road trips, and everyday driving without constant range anxiety. And compared to similarly priced EVs, it's finally competitive, not just in price, but in capability. This improvement isn't just numbers on a spec sheet, it's a shift in what the Leaf represents. It used to be the starter EV. Now it might just be all the EV most drivers need. The old Leaf used to fall behind when it came to charging a speed. Not anymore. The 2026 model steps things up with 150 kilowatt fast charging. That means you can go from 10% to 80% in about 35 minutes, practically lunch break speed. But it's not just about raw power. Nissan added a smart thermal management system that preps the battery before you even plug in. So if you're headed to a charger, the Leaf knows it and gets the battery to the right temperature for the fastest charge possible. In the right conditions, it can add over 150 miles of range in just 14 minutes. That's serious time saved. Another big deal? It comes with the NACS port, the same connector Tesla uses. That means Leaf drivers will have access to the massive Tesla Supercharger network across the US and Canada. You're no longer stuck hunting for the right plug. On top of that, the Leaf adds vehicle-to-load capability. There's a 1500-watt outlet in the cabin and another in the back. So if you're camping, tailgating, or the power goes out, your car becomes your power source. Not bad for something that used to be seen as basic. Step inside the 2026 Leaf, and it's clear Nissan didn't just focus on the exterior. The cabin has been completely rethought. Thanks to the new EV platform, the floor is flatter, the seats are spaced better, and there's more room to stretch out. It feels more open, less like a compact, and more like a modern crossover. One standout feature is the panoramic roof, but it's not just glass, it's electrochromic. That means you can dim it at the push of a button, giving you control over how much sunlight you let in. It adds a futuristic touch, but also makes the cabin feel calm and upscale. The materials are cleaner, the layout is smarter, and the center screen is easy to reach and simple to use. Even the HVAC system has been moved to free up legroom, and it's quieter too by up to 2 decibels. It's the kind of thoughtful upgrade you notice when you're stuck in traffic or taking a longer drive. Everything just feels more refined. The old Leaf always felt a little stripped down inside. This one finally feels like it belongs in 2026. You wouldn't expect the Leaf to be quick, but the 2026 version might surprise you. Nissan shrunk the motor by about 10%, yet somehow managed to squeeze out more power. The base model now delivers around 174 horsepower, while the higher trims jump to 214 horsepower and 261 pound-feet of torque. That's not sports car territory, but for a small electric crossover, it's more than enough to make city driving fun and highway merging stress-free. Handling has improved too. The steering is tighter, and thanks to a stiffer body and lower center of gravity, it feels more planted around corners. They even managed to shrink the turning radius to just over 5 meters, meaning it's easier to maneuver in tight parking lots or crowded urban streets. And then there's the noise, or rather the lack of it. The redesigned HVAC system, new materials, and improved insulation all help reduce cabin noise. It's up to 2 decibels quieter inside. And while that might sound small, you feel the difference during longer drives. No more whiny motor or background hum, just smooth, silent motion. It's not pretending to be a performance car, but it's definitely no slouch either. The 2026 Leaf doesn't just drive better, it's smarter too. Nissan packed it with features that make everyday driving easier and safer without making you feel like you are piloting a spaceship. At the center of it all is ProPilot Assist, Nissan's semi-autonomous driving system. It blends adaptive cruise control with lane centering, so the car can help keep you in your lane and maintain a steady distance in traffic. It's not full self-driving, but on long commutes or highway trips, it definitely takes the edge off. You also get Safety Shield 360 as a standard. That means automatic emergency braking, blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert, and more. It's the kind of suite that used to be reserved for luxury cars, but now it's built in. Nissan added some clever camera views too. There's a wide-angle front view for tricky parking spots, and something called invisible hood view that stitches together a top-down image so it looks like you're seeing through the front of the car. It's weird at first, but incredibly useful once you try it. In short, the Leaf finally feels like it caught up to modern expectations, not just in power or range, but in the tech department too. For years, the Leaf was the EV people settled for, not the one they really wanted. It was affordable, yes, but it always felt a step behind in the styling, range, and features. But with this 2026 reboot, Nissan isn't just playing catch up, they're stepping forward with something genuinely competitive. And here's the thing, not everyone wants a luxury EV that costs as much as a small house. Some drivers want something practical, reliable, and electric without all the gimmicks. That's where the new Leaf fits. It's not trying to reinvent the wheel, it's just doing the basics really, really well and finally looking good while doing it. The improved range makes it road trip ready. The new tech makes it safer and smarter. And the crossover design gives it more space and style without becoming oversized. It's still accessible, still familiar, but now it's a car you can be proud to drive, not just tolerate. So why does it matter now? Because the EV market is crowded with bold claims and big prices. And the Leaf quietly just became the smart choice again. So here we are, full circle. The Nissan Leaf started out as a pioneer, faded into the background, and now it's quietly stepping back into the spotlight. Not with flashy headlines or wild promises, but with solid range, smart upgrades, and a design that finally feels right for today. It's the kind of comeback story that doesn't need hype to impress just a second look. Whether you're new to EVs or you've been waiting for a reason to consider one again, this Leaf might be the one that finally makes sense. Quiet, capable, and completely reimagined. Who knew the most surprising EV of the year would be a Leaf?